Good morning. Welcome to Fifth Quarter Arizona, your local Northern Arizona sports talk show. I'm Tommy Hernandez. I'll be one of the hosts today. And like any good teammate, I've been eagerly waiting on the bench for my opportunity to step in. And with your regular host, Tyrone and Danny out today, I've been called into game. So along with my co-host, Russell Woods, we're hoping to give you a great show today. Morning, Russell.
Hey buddy, how you doing?
Good, good. How you been?
It's so good to see you. I'm just sweating my tail off here in Phoenix, delivering the mail. Uh, it's like we were talking about this before the show. I know it's 119 degrees down here, but I would rather be delivering the mail here in the summer in Phoenix than trying to go up there in Flagstaff in January and February when there's 6 feet of snow and it's 15 degrees and the wind and the plows and the black ice. I'll take this.
Right? Yeah. I mean, I think we all find a way to complain all the time. It's too hot, it's too cold. That's how I roll.
Yeah,
But
all my mountain blood has been thinned out over the last 30 years. I just can't do it
well,
anymore.
right, yeah, I don't blame you. So kind of getting into it, there's been a lot going on. I saw Flagstaff Little League ended their state title run last night. Dave Zorn and the crew did a great job streaming all the Little League games. That's been awesome to see. Did you get to catch any?
Yeah, I caught a little bit of it. I caught a little bit of the Kaylee Begay pitching. Um, I mean, I like I really gotta give a shout out to Dave Zorn. Over the last 6 or 7 years, he's really put something together that's special and it's unique for Flagstaff. It's like he's now to a point where anytime he just wants to do something, whether it's coaching, watching the Little League or the high schools or whatever tournament, he's got his own entourage. He just set everything up and away they go.
Right. Yeah, he's done everything from Little League to NAU basketball this year. So it's been awesome to
Exactly.
see everything that Dave's been doing and everything he brings to the sports world here in Northern Arizona.
Yeah, it's you're not gonna get it anywhere else in Northern Arizona. You gotta go to Phoenix to have this kind of uh, full media coverage that he's trying to do. He's got the NAU kids involved. He'll have 2 games going on every week when football season starts. No, we're blessed to have him. I thank him for deciding to come up here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And before we get on to our guest, I want to send a huge congratulations to all the players and coaches of the Flagstaff Girls Little League All-Star team, the 9s through 11. They're state champions this year. They actually dominated the tournament and they went undefeated and they're this year's 11 state champions. So congratulations to the
Good job.
Flag Girls Softball.
Congratulations.
Absolutely. So without further ado, we'll bring on Dianna Sanchez, our guest for today. She's the athletic director for Coconino Community College Comets, and we're super thrilled to have her.
Hi, Diana.
Good
Morning.
morning. And this will be fun because none of us have actually met before, so we get to learn a little bit about each other and have a good time. So just to get started, tell us a little bit about yourself. I understand you're a Flagstaff native.
Yep.
Um,
Yep. Yeah, lucky enough to be born and raised in Flagstaff. Let's see, went to Seacrest Elementary School, which now my kids go to, so that's weird, walking through the halls and dropping off my own kids. And then went to Flag High, so go Eagles, and got to run on their cross country team while I was there, and that was wonderful. And then got my degrees from NAU. I spent my freshman year down at U of A, but turned out I missed Flagstaff so much. I came back up here and got my undergrad in secondary English education. So I taught in our local high schools for a little bit. And then went back, got my master's in teaching English as a second language. And then we started having our family and stayed home for a little bit with our kiddos. And then I was ready to go back to work to get a break. So I got involved in the nonprofit sector here in town and spent some time at the Literacy Center, and then the foundation job at Coconino Community College became available. So they hired me for that. And part of the foundation's responsibility is to do all the fundraising for our cross country team. And as that has evolved, it's made a lot of sense to have the AD role in my office as well. So I kind of fought for that, and our Tony Williams, who was our prior AD, was very supportive of that transition. And so, yeah, now it's all under one roof, which makes things a lot easier for everybody.
Well, good. That's awesome.
Yeah, I was reading up on you and doing my homework for this show, and I don't know if this is a unique thing, but CCC, you're running your athletic program entirely on donations. Is that something that's unique, or is that something that if we looked at other programs, I know you've got, other schools, other programs have their own way of funding, but is it unique to CCC, and why did you choose that?
It is pretty unique. Athletics at this level tend to always be slightly underfunded, so teams are always doing, cookie dough sales or some type of fundraisers, but for the foundation to be 100% responsible for the team is unusual. And we do that in a variety of ways. Like you mentioned, we get private donations, but then we also orchestrate the Flagstaff Marathon every year, which is held annually up here in the fall, and it's 100% trail. It's up at the Nordic Center, and it's got quite a gritty reputation. It's one of the hardest marathons in the country, and we get runners from all over the world who come to compete at this race. But all the proceeds of that race go to the team, and so that's a huge fundraiser for us. And that initial decision, I wish I had more background on that, but I wasn't at the institution at the time they made that call. But I think there was kind of some trepidation about getting into athletics from the institution's budget standpoint. And the foundation was willing to kind of shoulder that and carry it to make it a reality.
Right. Yeah, I'm a CCC alum going after high school. So I definitely remember a lot of us coming from the local high schools asking about athletics, and I think it was a no-go due to keeping tuition down and affordable for everybody in the county. So it's awesome that you guys found a way to make it happen. It's really pretty cool, because we didn't think it would happen.
Yeah, and cross country was a logical fit for the school, right? With Northern Arizona's reputation for elite running and attracting Olympians from all over the world. And then it is one of the cheapest sports to offer also. Our annual budget is still right around $45,000, but in the world of athletics, you're not buying pads and need a stadium or anything like that. So
Right.
it's much more feasible. Mm-hmm.
A few weeks ago, we had Doug Allen on the show, talking about what it takes to start an athletic program from scratch. And I would imagine it would take a lot of community effort, a lot of community goodwill, a whole lot of generous bodies pitching in. Doug Allen, of course, you, Tony Williams, but who else would we know from around town that's been pitching in to make CCC an athletic program?
Well, Trina Painter, the coach at Flag High, the cross country coach, she was instrumental in helping get it off the ground. So huge props to her for her assistance in that, in the original formation. And then our coach, Coach Craig Hunt, he's been with the program since the very beginning, and he has truly been instrumental in, grooming the student athletes and really promoting a philosophy of a well-rounded athlete. They're not just here for competition. We're here to prepare them to be successful in life. His recruitment efforts have been fabulous, and he's done a great job of connecting with our community. He's not from here. I think he was from Illinois. And so that was a big transition for him to come out here and coach, but he's really, he's been an instrumental part of the success of the program, without a doubt.
That's great. It's great to have a wonderful coach, and we can't say enough great things about Coach Painter. My son Christopher ran cross country at Flag High, so we definitely know everything she does for the sport and for her athletes, and we're definitely blessed to have her. So that's cool that she helped get CCC going with the Comets.
Yeah. And with that, the Eagles cross country reputation is stellar. And so, yeah, to have her grooming those athletes and, it's kind of a nice domino effect. I know a lot of her athletes go on to compete at four-year institutions, but we had, as I'm sure you know, last year, one of our female runners won the national meet. She just won straight out, and now she'll be looking at transitioning to NAU, which is exactly what we want to see. Kind of getting these student athletes, prepared for success in a smaller setting, and then getting them to be successful in a larger, more competitive setting.
That's
So
amazing.
yeah. So this job isn't just a job. This is more like a passion project for you, it sounds like. Because well, I mean, you're from Flagstaff, which means you know all about the legacy of cross country and long distance running and training here. But you also ran cross country.
Yeah.
So this is it's not just a job or the next rung on the career ladder. This is something that that seems important to you.
And absolutely. Yeah, I've enjoyed distance running since I was a teenager, and I've continued that throughout my life. And and now we're running ultra marathons, which has been challenging and fun, and has probably kept me from strangling my children. So it's all good. But yeah, running in this community is just wonderful. There's just such a connection with the local runners, and people like Neil Weintraub and Nat White, and some of our true icons in the running community. It's just really exciting to be able to coordinate with those folks and to have those connections to kind of circle back to this program. They've also been instrumental and supportive, and their reputation in this community is critical.
Absolutely. The running community is so special in Flagstaff, and I really didn't know that until, my kids started running, and they embraced it, and just meeting so many wonderful people in that running community. It's awesome. Speaking of the program, do you have any local athletes running for you guys right now?
So our coach is currently, it's funny that the roster kind of gets dialed in at the very last moment. So I haven't seen our finalized roster yet, but a lot of our runners do come at least from the state of Arizona. We have a large percentage of Native American athletes who come from the outlying tribal areas. And I think, gosh, last year, I want to say 90% of the team was Native American from our indigenous local tribes. So they're definitely coming from our local area. I think we only had 2 out-of-state athletes last year. So I'll be curious to see the final roster when that gets all dialed in.
Well, it sounds like if you're already winning national tournaments and you've already got, it was Haley Burns that won the whole thing. You must be getting some sort of a national reputation. I know that, you just said that we have most of your athletes are from Arizona, if not from Northern Arizona. But is it tempting to try to recruit nationwide?
Oh, absolutely. I think that would be, if you look down the road 5-10 years, that would be the vision, is that our coach is getting bombarded with recruitment interest and gets to pick, the best of the best. But like I said, our coach, he truly looks at this from the point of view of athletics is a doorway to access to education. And that is the most critical component of this, the competition aside. So he's been open to having students who, have never, maybe they ran their senior year of high school and that's been about their level of experience, but they're interested in running, and he's embraced them and he's trained them to be great runners. So yes, I think nationally would be incredible, but I think the primary objective is always providing access to education to students who might not otherwise have that opportunity.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome. It's great to see a lot of the local, indigenous folks running. We know there's great programs with the history at Hopi High, and we've seen the success at, in Page and all over Northern Arizona. So it's extra special to have that many local Northern Arizona athletes running for the Comets. So I think that's amazing.
Yeah. And they need training at this elevation. It's really hard for folks to come from places like sea level or, super low altitudes. It can be a real challenge. So folks who have had the opportunity to grow up here don't struggle with that quite as much.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, training at 7,000 feet is real.
Well, I know between the foundation and being the AD, you're almost constantly talking about your program. If there's a senior at Flag High or Coconino or elsewhere in Northern Arizona, what would you want to say to them as a selling point as to why choose CCC?
That's a great question. I'm trying to not be overly passionate because I can do that because I love CCC so much and I love what we offer. And I think what I would tell those students is that you don't have to look very far to find a stellar education. Our staff and faculty here at this institution are some of the best. They care deeply about our students and want to see them succeed. Dr. Eric Heiser, who is our new president, has incredibly exciting vision for where this institution is going to go and where athletics are going to go in the future. So I think, I don't know. I know my senior year, I was like, oh my God, I got to get out of Flagstaff. This is the worst. I got to go see something else. What I would tell students is you don't need to look very far. It's right out your back door, and the institution is here to set you up for success. And we've got all kinds of support to make sure that you're being kind of this bear hugged to success, and we'll get you there. So
awesome. I can definitely.
I was going to say for athletics, we were just able, through a generous donor, we're able to offer scholarships now, which has been a huge addition to the program because any strong athletics program has to have scholarships, and a generous donor gave us $10,000 to start that program off. So now we can offer our student athletes financial support, which is wonderful.
Absolutely. That's great. I could definitely attest to everything you said about CCC. I went through the CCC to NAU program, and it definitely set me up for, to move on to my master's and everything else. So it was a great stepping stone for me to continue furthering my education, and CCC is near and dear to my heart as well. And it's awesome to see the success so quickly, and getting financial, support for the athletes is huge too, because I mean, it's expensive. So
Yep.
That's awesome.
The next thing we need to find is someone who wants to build housing for our students. So if you have any names, let me know.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, it's been a long time since I lived in Flagstaff. I graduated from Coconino in 1987, and I think CCC was just getting off the ground. So I'm learning a lot from you and Tommy in this conversation about athletics, and I didn't even know they didn't have housing. Learn something new every day.
We're lucky to have a great partnership with NAU. As Tommy mentioned, that CCC to NAU program, that's for students who have the intention of going on to NAU to secure a 4-year degree. NAU allows us to share housing for students who are enrolled in that program. But I mean, this is not a unique problem. I think housing is a major issue in this community for everybody, but for our students especially, it's just so hard. It's prohibitively expensive to live here. And a lot of our students who are coming from the reservation will oftentimes spend hours a day just driving to get to practice, to get to class. We had one student who I think her commute was 2 hours one way, and she was doing that 4 days a week just to be able to compete and just be able to come to class. So, the housing would really solve a lot of those problems, but it's a huge testimony to the dedication of our student athletes.
Absolutely. Yeah, that they go above and beyond, especially when you're traveling that far. Some kids can't even get up to make it to an 8 a.m. class. So
exactly.
Mad props to her for that extra dedication.
Mm-hmm.
Is there going to be I know it's entirely based on funding. on donations. But if and when CCC puts together a second sport, what do you think that would be, and what could we expect from such a program?
Well, so the two sports that are kind of top of mind right now would be men's and women's soccer and men's and women's golf. Primarily for, again, facility access, because we're not in a position to build our own types of fields or facilities. So that's kind of what we're starting to look into. The other community colleges I've spoken to, though, again, say the key ingredient to all of this, it comes back to housing. The student athletes need somewhere to live. And especially if you're looking at a soccer team, which is much larger than a cross country team, you have a lot of students who are going to need to be accommodated to be successful. But those are the two sports that kind of have been in the very, very infant stages of discussion.
So we're not going to expect basketball or football, or we're just staying within our means.
Well, yeah, unless, Russell, you find me that $50 million donor, then the conversation will totally change.
Well, I play Powerball at least once every other week. So
anything's possible.
You never know.
Yeah.
Can't win if you don't play.
That's right.
Well, that's awesome. I know the challenges. I coach NAU club softball, and we play some of the new schools, the park universities in the world that have, started up, athletics, and they use, high school gyms and stuff like that just to get going our fields. So obviously running was perfect for Flagstaff. And I think, the success of the local soccer teams also kind of attest to moving into that as well. I know Flag High's had a great, female soccer team for quite some time, and I know the boys have had some success as well. So that's an exciting next sport, or possible next sport.
Yeah. And it would just be, as much as I love cross country, it's not a very spectator friendly sport. So it'd be fun to have a sport that fans could come, sit in the stands and watch and cheer for our team. And that would be a really exciting development to see down the road.
Absolutely. I know at the cross country meets, I would get as much running as my son, because we would dart across to try to get a couple second glimpse of them coming by. So
yep, I know. Yeah. Like run over this way, Buffalo Park, run over that way.
Right. Yeah. Kind of have our path down before it starts, so we could catch them a couple of times.
Totally.
I wanted that you brought up briefly when you were talking about yourself, about how you went from teaching into nonprofit work and then getting involved with the foundation. Mm-hmm. How do you transition from that? I mean, you go from one career slot with teaching, which NAU has always had a great teaching college, so it's such a natural field to become a teacher in Flagstaff. But how did you transition from that to doing nonprofit work and getting involved with the foundation?
So let's see, kind of a long answer to that question. But when I was down at U of A, my first year, I thought for sure I wanted to go into medicine. I thought I wanted to be a doctor. And I took my first, it was like calculus for, pre-med majors. And I thanked my lucky stars, I got a C in that class. I never had to work so hard for a C. And I was like, oh, this might not be where I want to go. And I thought, I've always loved school. It's been like, I am a nerd to the core, and I love school so much. And so I remember thinking in my early 20s, well, what could I do that would keep me in school forever? Because that's really what I want to do. And I said, well, teach. Then I could be in school forever. And so I switched my major and went into education, and taught in Camp Verde, actually, my first year and a half of teaching. I had a weird graduation. I graduated in December, and not many institutions are looking for teachers mid-year, but they were. And so I got to teach down there, which to this day was my favorite place to teach. That was a community where I felt like I was really making a difference and really helping a lot of the students there. And I still stay in touch with some of those students I got to teach years ago. And then, came back up here. And once we started having our children, I thought about going back to teaching, but I was really worried that I was not going to have the kind of patience that a good teacher needs. My patience was being centered at home. But I knew I wanted to stay in education. And so the Literacy Center at the time was looking for a program director. And I was fortunate enough to have worked for the current executive director when she was working at FALA. And I let her know I was looking for work, and she was looking for a program director, and it worked out wonderfully. And then when the foundation was looking, I was super excited because, again, at the foundation of all of that, it's education. And that's where my heart lies. And so I've been able to spend my career promoting education, providing access to education, whether it's not maybe necessarily directly in the classroom teaching. The foundation the CCC Foundation does a ton of scholarships. That's another one of our huge fundraising initiatives. So we get to award scholarships for students, and it's really important to me to feel fulfilled in my work, to know that that's a critical part of my job, is to ensure that these students are able to walk through the doors of the community college and know that they don't have to worry about the financial aspect of school, because a lot of our students are working multiple jobs. They have families of their own. It's not your typical 18-year-old who is kind of trying to figure things out as they pay for school. Our students are in a different position. So yeah, that's just, education has just really always been the driving force on that journey.
Wow, that's awesome. You could definitely feel your passion in education and helping these kids, and that's what they need. They need, they need our assistance. They need people that really care. We're kind of getting to that point where we're going to wrap up, but I just wanted to see if there's anything else you want to touch upon before we wrap up about the program. Anything up and coming? Is there any fundraising or any information how people can get involved?
Absolutely. So as I mentioned, the Flagstaff Marathon, we have registration open. So please go to flagstaffmarathon.com. You can read all about the race. And even though I said it's super gritty, please don't let that deter you, because we have a full marathon distance, a half marathon, and a 10K. So there really is a distance for everyone. So we encourage you to come out and enjoy that race. And then, yeah, as you guys mentioned, just don't forget that this program is funded by private donations. So really any contribution makes a huge difference and allows this program to be successful. And and also make sure you check out the athletics webpage, because that's where our schedule is listed. The cross country season occurs in the fall, and you can, so we'll be getting going here pretty soon. There's only one local meet here in Flagstaff. It's the George Kite Invitational, which is that huge meet that they have at Buffalo Park. The high schools compete, NAU is out there, CCC is out there. It's a super fun weekend, so come out and cheer on our Comets. And yeah, just keep checking in, and we've always got all kinds of developments. We always make the paper, and that's always exciting. So hopefully you have a great season ahead.
Absolutely. We wish you the best. And where can we get some Comet swag? They got some at campus?
Yes, come by my office. I'll hook you up.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
I'll definitely do that.
Okay.
And before we go, we have Coach Neal and Coach Johnson have the golden nugget question.
I was waiting for you to do that. I didn't.
Trying to set up Russell here. Russell, what do you have for the golden nugget question today?
Well, you're obviously very passionate about cross country and moving the program at CCC forward, but the underlying theme that I get out of you is the same that I get out of Tommy, and I think I put it out there. This is just a genuine love for Flagstaff. I guess I haven't lived there since I graduated from high school. Tommy's been fortunate. He's gone to college. He's come back. He's doing his own business. He's part of the community, and you went to U of A, and then you came back and you stayed and you've built a career. What's so magical about Flagstaff?
Oh gosh, that is a golden nugget question. I think, Russell, I think of one of your prior questions about, who kind of helped get this program going. And I am sure I have forgotten probably 50 people who were instrumental in this. And so I think what makes Flagstaff so special are those relationships and the folks who are willing to rise to the occasion to make something incredible happen for our community. It's great to be able to like pick up the phone and call Neil Weintraub, or to, you know, call Doug Allen and see how they can help or if they're interested. And I would say 99.9% of the time you're going to get a yes, because people are excited and they want to see Flagstaff be successful, and they're supportive of these efforts. And so, yeah, it's really that community connection. I mean, even though Flagstaff, I think we could all say, is growing very quickly, that small knit, tight community and those relationships exist. And I think they're truly, at the end of the day, what make things like this cross country program a reality.
I agree with that last sentiment. Yeah, the Flagstaff I grew up in, I'm a few years older than the rest of you, had only about 35,000 people. Flagstaff itself has twice that much. And if you include, you know, everywhere else in Coconino County, there's, you know, almost double that. But there's still that core. I mean, we talk about Danny and Tyrone, Doug Allen. I've been helping out with the Hall of Fame banquet in a couple of weeks. So Bill Epperson, who's been part of Flagstaff since the 1960s. I know it's an older core, but it's a very special core, and it is very close knit, and everybody still knows everybody.
Yep.
You know,
and I feel like that kind of, I guess, you know, Tommy and I are kind of the next ones to make sure that core stays intact, because I do feel like, as folks are getting older, that mantle is being passed down. And I think, you know, the next generation of leaders and community influencers is upon us, but it's intact. It's working. So
yes.
Absolutely. It's so special to be here and from here, and I feel so fortunate to continue to live here. And we're very fortunate to have you on today. It's been awesome getting to know you and to learn more about yourself and the Comets and everything that CCC is doing and growing with athletics. So thank you so much for joining us today. We definitely appreciate it.
Well, and thank you guys. I really appreciate the opportunity, and go Comets.
Yes.
All right. Bye.
All right. Thanks. Have a great day.
You too.
Well, we did it.
Russell, I think we did it. I think that was an amazing show. Great guest, a lot of great information. I think we'll do coaches proud.
Well, I mean, they'll peek in. I know they're busy today, but they'll peek in. I don't think we embarrassed them too much.
Right.
We were talking. I mean, Danny and Tyrone just have a magic about them, you know, and they're able to bring it onto this show. And every week it's the same sort of banter as, you know, would you see them at Flag High or at the rec center, and you know, that's you know, an entire lifetime of knowing people.
Right. Right. Yeah, they definitely have a special relationship, and it shows, and a special love for the sports and the kids in Flagstaff. So it's definitely
just
felt.
And the more you and I do this kind of thing, the more we talk, and we talk when I go up the hill, or you come to a game down here and we chat. You know, maybe in 20 or 30 years we got the same sort of thing.
Yeah, we'll get there. Speaking of the next thing is the Sports Foundation. That's on is it the 28th?
It's the 4th. It's 2 weeks from today.
Oh, sorry. It's August. Sorry. Yeah, August.
The Hall of Fame banquet. Yeah, it's
yes.
It's 2 weeks from today. I heard that it's already filled up pretty quick. It's going to be a jam-packed affair. It's going to be at Twin Arrows, and if you want to get a ticket, I mean, they'll let you in. But, you know, if you want to reserve a seat, a particular table, you probably want to get a hold of Danny pretty quick. Or I think the Flagstaff Sports Foundation has their website. But yeah, this is now, it's something I go to every year. And it's not so much meeting the honorees, which it's very special to do, but there's that circle of community leaders we were just talking about with Dianna. They're there every year.
Right.
So if you can just walk up and, a lot of people were taught by Mike Cromer. He's there every year.
Right.
Rick Smith, probably the greatest football coach we've had, 4 state titles with Flag High. He's there every year. You never know who's going to show up that's been part of the community for 50, 60 years. That's what makes the Hall of Fame banquet special. That's why I like helping out Danny and Epperson and everybody. It should be something that this whole community can be part of.
Yeah, definitely. This will be my first Hall of Fame banquet that I'm attending. I know a few of the people personally, Abel Estrella, and some people that have had a impact on my life as wrestling referees and that keep the sports alive. They do all the hard jobs, and I'm looking forward to getting out there and seeing everybody and meeting some new people and keeping the conversation going. So
it's
I look
other
forward
than going to like the rivalry football game. This is one of those places where you can really hobnob and get to know the real leaders of Flagstaff, not just the coaches or the ads or some of the stuff, but the real people that made Flagstaff the reason why we still love it as our hometown.
Absolutely. Well, with that, I will wrap it up. And it was great seeing you again. I can't wait to see you in person. I know football's coming soon, and we're gonna run each other at football games. And you stay cool down there in Phoenix. I know it's been
I'll drink my water and I'll say my prayers, and just like anything else, just one day at a time.
All right. Well, we'll end it with what the coach's quote, stay hydrated out there and be safe. And everybody have a great weekend.
And I always say it different. You say it different. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.